Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's September 5th, 2025. I'm out in the first food forest right now. One of the things I do want to do today is harvest some of the peaches from this tree here. As you could see, I don't know if you could see these, but tons of pits. The wildlife been going right through them left and right. All around here. And yesterday we were blessed to get 0.59 inches of rain, almost 6/10 of an inch. Thank goodness we got that. We desperately need it. It looks like tomorrow we have a good chance of getting some more rain, so that's great. I didn't work out on the workshop there yesterday. Yesterday was one of those days. It was a very tense filled day for me yesterday. Just very, very frustrating. Dealing with finance companies and all. Well, I'll just give you an idea. So one of the things, now the breeze is picking up. I'll walk over here by the honey hut and block myself from all the breeze. So here we are in the honey hut, one of the hives. So anyways, one of the things that's a real challenge when you're dealing with the insurance company and you have pieces of equipment that you took out loans on, and you have those pieces of equipment that are insured, like when the workshop collapsed. Now, Doge here, this is a new machine that I got since the workshop collapsed, because this replaces Pepe, the Kawasaki Mule, which got, completely destroyed in it. But the rest of the pieces of equipment, each piece of equipment that you see that we have, from the Buzz, the Kubota mower, to the B2601 Mini Me, Optimus Maximus, the Grandel 6060, the Hulk, the track loader, the BCS tractor, all these pieces of equipment, they're all insured individually, separate from the entire policy, or part of the entire policy. And I've learned, and I'll make a video covering all these details in the future, but I've learned that maybe all of those items should have been a separate policy than my farm one that incorporates everything together. That way you don't get hit with as much of an increase and a bump in all of your insurance rates, a few $1,000s, when you have an incident. It's like having an RV. I talked to one person, said, if you have vehicles that you're driving all the day, but you only use an RV once in a while, it's best to have that RV on a separate policy so it doesn't affect your regular car's insurance rates. So anyways, back to my story. So the Kubotas, one of the things I was real happy about with the Kubotas, I had 0% interest rate on those. I've had it for a few years. But when the insurance company, and they're individually insured, excuse me. And the insurance company, when I had those insured, it showed that the payees have to be myself, Thea, Mindful Living Sanctuary, our farm, and go to Kubota. And I had already paid for all the repairs for the pieces of equipment. I took that out of my retirement account, so that I could at least get as many things up and working as possible. And Blazy's in Palmyra, New York, my Kubota dealer, absolutely fantastic folks. They came, picked them up, assessed them, said this is what it's going to take. I paid them, they did the repair, they returned it back. Now I've got those pieces of equipment working. Months later, the insurance company cuts a check, but it's made out to me, my wife, our farm, and to Kubota. Well, Kubota was real good about it, but the money had to go to Kubota in order to deal with it. So I just paid off a couple of my 0% interest rate loans, with a check that was for the repairs that I had already paid for. So that was a real hassle. But Kubota was real good about it. Everything worked out fine with Kubota. With the track loader and the Hulk and Elon, I did the repairs with them, and they reimbursed me for it, but I had to they made out the check to our finance company, Midland Finance Solutions, I think is what the name of that company is. And so we endorsed the check, sent it to them, and I ended up using that to pay off Elon, the excavator, and a little bit left over to go towards the track loader, because I'd been paying, these would have all been paid off next year. So, it's one of those things where it's something to think about when you have different items. If you're a farmer, a homesteader with these different pieces of equipment, how you're going to get reimbursed, and if you end up paying for them first, or you've got to wait, and it's, we're in our 7th month now. If you wait for everything, it's just a hassle. Then with the Avant 860i, the estimate for the repairs is between $55,000 and $56,000 for that. But they also said once we split it in half, we may find more that's damaged with it. So it could be much more than that. And that information was all conveyed. The estimate was sent off to the insurance company, and they cut a check for $35,000. And of course, they made it out to Avant Techno Finance Solutions, which is the company. So when I bought the Avant a year ago, I got a 0% interest rate loan on it, so I didn't want to pay it off. But it cost me $500 to get that 0%. There's no free anything this day and age. So you're always paying something extra when you're financing, and either you're going to be paying that interest rate every month, or you pay an upfront fee for the benefit of having that. So I've had it for just a year, and of course it was it was crushed in the collapse in February, and so I've been making the payments. You still have to make all your payments and all. Kept the insurance on everything, and so with the Green Machine, the Avant 860i, I get the check, and it's now I have the public adjusters helping me with everything else, but they said, yeah, you probably don't need it for these pieces of equipment. That should be pretty straightforward and all. And it's been such a hassle. I'll tell you how many times a day I get text messages, emails, or phone calls saying, hey, can you send us more pictures of this, the wiring that's damaged? We don't see the damage on the BCS. Can you take better pictures of it? And my feeling is that the insurance company should send out professionals. Now they have. We're on our 4th professional right now dealing with the BCS tractor and the Avant 860i and the Dixie chopper. I'm going to step in here because I feel the breeze coming again. So it just eats up a lot of your hours, and it's very frustrating because although you provide all this information, the photos, the documentation, you describe, okay, these were always kept inside. Now you see they're all muddy, bent, and rusty. Well, they're sitting outside since February, and when we had so much snow, they were put into a snowbank, and when the snowbank melted, they sunk down into the soil. I dug them out of the soil, put them on pallets, stuck them out here, and they've been exposed outside the whole time. And I explained, okay, so I rewired the Wolf Ridge wood splitter. I tried wiring and it's with the Dixie chopper, doing the work with that. So I spent hours going through these things, and then with each new adjuster they give, you have to go over the same information. I say, don't you already have this from the previous adjuster? Well, no, I don't have access to those files and all. And I don't know, I suspect that I expect no good, to tell you the truth. And if you want to Google something, you can Google Senator Hawley, H-A-W, I think it is L-E-Y, Senator interviewing Allstate and State Farm CEOs and the various claims adjusters. And that's enlightening to see just how corrupt the insurance companies are. So anyways, and how they will try to underpay for it. Just like the Avant, it was 35,000 something, I can't remember the amount. So, and I'm just, I have so many other things to do. I'm just feeling worn down, to tell you the truth, with this whole insurance thing. And thank God I've got Aaron and Kelsey, the public adjusters, doing all they're doing for the building and the rest of the contents. I would not have the energy or the resources, and I'd probably just lose my mind and yell at them or write them nasty emails instead of the professional emails that I send them with all the information, because I just want to get these things settled. We're in our 7th month now. So anyways, it's one of those things. So they sent me the check for the $35,000. Now, I financed the Avant through Avant Techno Finance Solution, I believe is the name of that, the insurance name, or the interface that you work through for financing it. And like I said, I paid $500 last year for having a 0% interest rate. Well, the way that they made the check out, it has to go to Avant Techno. It can't go to the service center, which would do the repairs. It has to go to them. When I got on the phone with Jerome, the customer service representative of the finance group of Avant Techno Finance Solutions, he informed me, no, that check has to go for the repairs. And I said, well, how do we do that? He says, well, you go ahead, and every time you give them the check, and they can't take the check because it's made out to the Finance Solutions place. It isn't made out to the Central New York Farm Supply, where I bought the tractor, and who does the repairs, and the service representative works through them. So, I said, this makes no sense. And Avant Techno Solution, I go, well, I'll just apply it towards my, sorry, I'm trying to keep moving with the wind here. And we had heavy winds yesterday and lots of limbs down at Fruit Down. I'll get to that in a moment. So I went around with Jerome several times. He was very polite and all, but he told me they can't accept the check, even though the check is made out to Avant Techno Finance Solutions. They can't take it because it's supposed to be for the repairs. And I said, well, the repair estimate is more than this, and it's made out to you and not to the company. He says, well, I can't help you with that, and we can't take it for partial repayment of my loan. And so, I'm just upset with this whole finance solution of Avant. What a terrible situation. Each one of these companies, it's just a real hassle. Well, so I yesterday selling my shares in our retirement accounts to pay off these things, because I'm just getting tired of having checks being made out to the financing companies that are doing it, and I'm doing the repairs. I paid for all the ones out of our retirement for each one of the pieces of equipment. And Kubota worked with me just fine. They accepted the checks for paying off a Doge and Buzz the mower. So that worked out okay. But Avant wasn't going to do anything with it. So I said, boy, I'm just done with them. I'm just going to pay it off and send. My thought was, I'll go ahead and ask the insurance company to recut a different check directly to me, seeing that I've paid off the rest of the money for it. Well, so I sold a lot of shares yesterday to pay off this, as well as to pay off our home equity loan, which is another situation. I'll tell you that in a second. But you know, it's just an exercise in frustration. I think that some of these things are done, you know, to cover their butts, to make sure. I see that, you know, if they're going to issue a check and they're insured, they want to make sure that the services have been fulfilled, that the equipment is brought back to the condition that they were supposed to be in beforehand, which they aren't, because all my equipment is outside in the sun now. They aren't in the workshop where they were kept before. So anyways, Jerome called me back and he said, well, we can take the check as long as you pay the rest of it off. So we both endorsed the check yesterday, got it certified, return receipt, signed, mailed off to them. It's got to be there by the 12th. So I sold more shares yesterday. Hopefully that I'll get the money into the account, and then the rest of it has to be wired to them to a separate address. Just, you know, it's trying to stay on top of all this stuff and do anything else. Well, it's challenging. Then for the rebuilding, for the collapsed building, I've been paying each step of the way with our retirement funds to get the building supplies, the steel doors, the overhead doors, ordered the equipment for that, ordered the lumber and some materials for getting the building up and getting it together, ordered the trusses, all of those things. So it's just such a tight financial situation, even though you think that the insurance company is going to come through. And so the check that's made out to Thea and I and Mindful Living Sanctuary, which is our business, and it goes to Empower Federal Credit Union for the repairs for the building. Well, that has to go, once the credit union has to pay off my home equity loan with that check. So it doesn't get the building rebuilt, it pays off the home equity loan. So it's, you know, and it's going to be a little bit more, it's going to be more than what the home equity loan is, but I'm just at one of those points. So now an important thing that I would advise everybody, once you pay off a piece of equipment, get documentation from the finance company, and this can be tough, like Midland Financial Solutions. They haven't been sending out copies indicating that the equipment has been paid in full, so that I can send that to the insurance company so they know, okay, if anything else happens, the check comes directly to me, to us. So yesterday was a very, very frustrating day. But I said, Jerome, what changed? He was the one from Avant. He says, well, I ran it up the chain. So in other words, he asked the supervisor, can this guy actually do this? And what I assumed was correct, but he wasn't aware of that. But he was pretty adamant before that. Nah, that check can't be used for. I said, it can't go to the, you know, it's made out to you. It can't go to the Central New York Farm Supply where I bought the equipment. Just one of those things. And I got to say, Adam at Central New York Farm Supply in Cortland, New York, fantastic. You know, so I've got Blazey's in Palmyra, New York, who are the Kubota dealer, and they're who I bought the articulated loader off, the articulated boom lift, which may be coming next week. That will be helpful for the build process. I still have a scissor lift that I bought there. I don't know when that's coming in yet, but I'll make videos about that equipment when it shows up and all. But Adam at Central New York Farm Supply in Cortland, New York has been absolutely fantastic. He's working with me trying to figure out how the hell we're going to get this piece of equipment in and get fixed. It's just another thing that's going to come out of my pocket again to deal with that. And we still, the BCS tractor, you know, we're on our fourth adjuster, the BCS attachments, the Dixie chopper, the Wolf Ridge wood splitter, and the prime attachments. Those are the pieces of equipment that hook on the front of the Hulk. You know, it's just a very, very slow, painful process, and I think they want you to forget about these things or just end in frustration and say the hell with it. So anyways, I guess I'm done ranting for right now. So, what do I want to try and accomplish today? This morning I was on the phone all morning as well. And it's almost lunchtime, but I'm going to try and get these peaches over here harvested. I may get some more peaches or some more apples, or I'll do those tomorrow. I want to take the soil conditioner off of the Hulk, put the bucket on, and just sort of smooth out the area behind the workshop, because before long the materials are coming and it's kind of lumpy bumpy there again. I want to get that done. Bud did drop off another load of wood chips that I do want to get out. Probably put them right around pond 5 where I was putting them before. And I do want to turn the compost leaf mold soil pile again. I went out and picked up stones around the pile first today. So wow, what a long-winded, one more time, intro here. So I'm going to try and get started now. Sorry about me whining about everything here, but I just want people to know that the more that I think people like me can share our experiences, hopefully people will be a little bit better informed about what to be asking, specifics and all when they're getting things insured. So here we go. So I just went around and sampled a lot of the different apple trees and all around here. The peaches are basically done at this point. And some of the apples are real close right now. I did harvest a few of some that are ready. Those are the peaches from the one tree that I did. I just went ahead and got this from this semi-dwarf here. That one's okay, yeah. These ones taste really well as well, but this is that semi-dwarf tree here that I just got these off of, and it's in rough shape. We'll see what we can do about getting this one healthy again. Things are still a bit too crowded out here in the food forest, the first food forest that is. But a lot of the trees, a lot of the apples are getting real close. You know, they're not quite there yet. So probably in the next week. But the deer, you can see the deer have been pulling these buggers down. Oh, yeah, little angels. Anyways, so food forests are looking pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead, get some lunch now, and then I'll probably get the Hulk set and do some work with that, either that or the green machine. Who knows yet? We'll have to see.
I'm a type A soul, got a fire in my chest. Always pushing forward, gotta give my very best. Not one for small talk, I keep my circle tight. Need control in my hands or know it's done just right. But life's got a way of spinning out of line. Incompetence and laziness creep up every time. I've mellowed with the years, or so I like to say. But when things go wrong, I'm still wired that way. Go with the flow, they tell me let it be. But easing up ain't as easy as it seems. I'm fighting to let go, to loosen up my grip. But this type A heart's still racing on this trip. I see the job half done, and it burns me to the core. Laziness around me, I can't take much more. I trust the ones who hustle, who give it all they've got. But if you're slacking off, I'm tying up in knots. I've learned to breathe a little, let some battles slide. But when I see that carelessness, it stirs me up inside. I'm trying to find peace, let the river take its course. But control's my anchor, and I hold it with no remorse. Go with the flow, they tell me let it be. But easing up ain't as easy as it seems. I'm fighting to let go, to loosen up my grip. But this type A heart's still racing on this trip. I'm learning to sway like a willow in the breeze, finding calm in chaos, setting my mind at ease. It's a work in progress, this softer side of me. But I'll keep on trying till my heart feels free. Go with the flow, I'm learning step by step, finding grace in moments where I used to feel the wreck. I'm easing up my hold, let the current take me slow. This type A soul still learning how to go with the flow. Yeah, I'm wired to lead, to make it all alive. But I'm finding peace in leaving some control behind. It ain't always easy, but I'm giving it a try. Type A and flowing, reaching for a calmer sky.
Seems like just yesterday, under skies so blue, Jim and Barb, you said I do. I was just a kid, wide-eyed, watching you, a handsome groom, a bride so true. Hand in hand you carved away, built a love that grows stronger every day. 60 years of love, through joy and tears, Jim and Barb, you've conquered all the years. Through every storm you held on tight. Your love's a beacon shining bright, forever bound, heart to heart. Jim and Barb, never to part. 4 beautiful children you raised with care, taught them love and dreams to dare. Now their families bloom, a legacy so grand, a testament to your steady hands. Through challenges faced and triumphs won, your love's the thread that weaves as one. 60 years of love, through joy and tears. Jim and Barb, you've conquered all the years. Through every storm you held on tight. Your love's a beacon shining bright, forever bound, heart to heart. Jim and Barb, never to part. Every wrinkle tells a story, every smile a song. Through the highs and lows, you've carried on. From the vows you spoke to the life you've made, your love's a masterpiece that will never fade. The world has changed, but your love stays true. A fire that burns in all you do. Laughter shared and tears you've dried, walking together side by side. 60 years, a journey rare, a love like yours beyond compare. 60 years of love, through joy and tears. Jim and Barb, you've conquered all the years. Through every storm you held on tight. Your love's a beacon shining bright, forever bound, heart to heart. Jim and Barb, never to part. So here's to you on this golden day. Jim and Barb, in every way. A love so strong, a life so true. The world's more beautiful because of you. Happy 60 years, may your heart still sing for the endless love your lives still bring.
Well, it's been quite a windy day today, and some things went along pretty well. First, we were able to harvest some peaches, some Asian pears, and some apples, small amounts. Got those over into the work area for Thea when she gets the opportunity to process those. And the next thing I did do after lunch was I came down here and started working with, I'm going to call this a soil pile. So what is this pile of dirt that you see there? Well, it started off years ago. I realized I could build very nice soil amendments by going to the local cities and towns in the fall time and taking my dump trailer with me, and I'd pick up all the bagged leaves, make multiple trips out here and pile them up. That along with wood chips would be things that I would do. Now the wood chips, I'd try to finagle my way of getting people to drop off wood chips. I didn't actually go and pick those up until one big time, one specific situation. Bud, the tree service that we use now, who comes and delivers chips, he had been stockpiling them on his piece of property for years, and I went with a dump trailer all summer long and brought all his wood chips. Huge pile it was. And I did lots of composting back then as well, because we used to go to Purpose Farm, which had a whole mixture of different manures, from everything from camels to horses to donkeys to pigs to chickens to peacocks to goats, you name it. And that mixture of fecal material along with all the vegetable material that we were processing or composting, it worked out very well. And those, so between the wood chips, the leaves, the composting that we've been doing, that's really paid off and built up very nice soil on top of our very rocky gravel area here. So that's always been a big asset for us. And so several years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, one of the guys from the town who I was friends with asked, "You're going to town and picking up all those leaves and making more?" Well, we pick them up at the cemetery. I could talk with the highway superintendent and see, because it's closer to drop the leaves off at your place. And so since that point, every fall when the groundskeepers rake up or pile up all the leaves in a couple of cemeteries, the guys in the town will go down with a big loader, load up all the leaves, and drop them off here in dump trucks. Same dump trucks that they'll use for doing all the work during the summertime, or that they'll put sand and salt in during the winter months to take care of our roads here in snow country. So I started off with the leaves initially, going off into the woods and picking up some of the inoculum, the fungal-rich forest soil surface. So as the leaves go down and fall in the forest soil, fall on the soil surface, it creates this humus layer, and it's really rich with many saprophytic and beneficial microorganisms. So I would always go into the forest and take some of that and inoculate the leaves that I would be bringing home. And I'd always leave some of that leaf mold, we call it leaf mold pile, left over every season. And when the new leaves came in, I'd take that residual, reserve amount of leaf mold and mix it in with the new leaves that I would get. And that would really speed up the whole breakdown process and all, for doing it in a pile like this. So then I started using, since I wasn't doing the big large composting piles anymore, we started taking all of our compostable materials and doing it right in the leaf mold pile. So the leaf mold pile became both a compost pile and a leaf mold pile. And when we'd be harvesting weeds and bringing those in, we'd break those down, because there's lots of beautiful nutrients in the weeds as well. And unfortunately, you do get weed seeds in there. So, and this pile never gets up to like 145 degrees and kills all of the pathogens or all of the weed seeds that are in there. So that's what this pile has been for quite a few years, and the winds are kicking up again. That's why I'm doing this inside a Doge. And this year I decided to take our soil that was a permanent raised bed from our where we always grew our sweet potatoes, and since this year's been unlike any other year since the building came down, we always have challenges every year, but this one was it's occupied most of my life since the building collapsed and all, so which has taken me away from all the other things. But since we decided not to do so many sweet potatoes, we've been cutting back each year on the volume of food that we grow and harvest, because it is a lot of work to do that, and for the two of us, it's more than what we need. So we take all of our compostable materials, mix it in with the compost and leaf mold, and this year I took the soil from the sweet potato patch as well as the soil. It had gotten thicker where I just put in the clover seeds recently. So right in between the handicapped raised beds and the trellis where we grow the scarlet red runner beans. So I took that soil down here, and so when you saw when I was turning this, you could see some dry powdery stuff, because I harvested that soil when it was completely bone dry. And so what I tried to do was mix it all together some. Now tomorrow we're supposed to get more rain, so fortunately yesterday we got almost 6/10 of an inch of rain. So that really helped to keep the dust down with me turning this. And by turning it, some of the moisture stuff is down inside of that pile, and some of the outer part is still pretty dry. So hopefully we'll get some more rains. We need quite a bit more rain. I don't want it to interfere. Oh, there's a fawn right over here right now. Just, he's in the dark forest area, but directly before me right there. I spooked him earlier when I came down here. So anyways, that turned out to be successful. I did pick up a lot of rocks. I always pick up the rocks around the base of it because the heavier things will roll down the hill, and some of the sticks I put those down by the spillway by the pond, and that all worked out well. So I'm mesmerized by this little fawn over there. He keeps checking me out, but since I'm in Doge here, he isn't getting overly concerned. So the next thing I did do was I smoothed out some of the gravel that we had deposited behind the workshop after digging out all the soil that had all the nails in it after the demo work there. We had stone brought in and brought some gravel in as well, and since I had created ruts there, I just smoothed it out with the bucket after doing this. Then I went up and piled up a small amount of wood chips that were delivered a few days ago. So that's a recap of the day. I'm pretty happy. Thea went and got groceries. We got one of the checks we were waiting for, so she's gone to the credit union to pay off our home equity loan and to wire transfer the rest of the money going to pay off the Avant loan that we have. Well, the winds are really kicking up. I can actually feel it inside of Doge here. So everything worked out pretty well today. Pretty happy with things. I have some paperwork and some office work I got to do now before the end of the day. So that's it. That's our events today. Better mood today, or this afternoon. Yesterday was a terrible day. Anyways, that's it for today's video, folks. I really appreciate you watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. And by all means, folks, stay safe and take care. And have a good night. Bye-bye now.